Hi everybody, I thought I'd make this little video about drum rolls and the fact that we use two different types of drum roll. And not a lot of people know that, and very often when students come for their lessons and they want to learn drum rolls, they're not aware that we have two different types of drum roll. Or maybe if they've learned a drum roll, they might have learned one type and not the other. And sometimes people think, oh, this one is right and one is wrong, and we get into all this there's a bit of confusion out there. So I thought I'd make this little video. Hopefully it'll be helpful. Hopefully it will, you'll learn something, and it may clarify a few things for you as well. So let's get into it. So we've got the two main types of drum roll. Okay, the main two types of drum roll that we use are the open roll and the closed roll. Now, just to confuse you, the closed roll often has some nicknames as well. So it can be referred to as the press roll or the buzz roll, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about why that happened in a bit. So essentially, we've got these two drum rolls. I know that there can be some other very specialist types of effects that we can get that have got some funny names, but I'm not interested in that for the purposes of this video. I'm just going to look at those main two things because I think there's enough confusion around those, and if we can clarify that and clear that up, I think that will help a lot. So the open roll is the one where you'll hear it more often than not in military music, marching bands and things like that. It's a very traditional sound on the drum, and it's the sound that which I always refer to as like a kind of machine gun like sound, where you can almost hear every strike on the drum. So the idea is that there's a kind of separation between the notes, and you can hear the attack of the note on every drum. This is the open roll, so I'll demonstrate that now. Yeah, and if I put a little march to it. Yeah, you know that sound, right? So like that's what we call the open roll. That's a classic sort of sounding drum roll. There's a particular technique that you need to play that, which we'll look at in a minute. The other drum roll is called the closed drum roll, it's the one where you'll hear this more often than not in the symphony orchestra, maybe the ballet. And also in the circus, all right, or if you've got a juggler, as I had to on a cruise ship for 6 months, not the same one, and it's the classic kind of it should sound very smooth, that drum roll, and I'll demonstrate that now. So this is the closed drum roll, the closed roll. Yeah, you know the sound. I can't resist that symbol. I always imagine someone getting shot out of a cannon or something. So, what's going on there? Why do they sound different? How do they sound different? How do you play them? And what have you got to work on and practice? Okay, and I'll try and help you with some of the tips about how I think about when I'm doing this. So let's go back to the open roll. Now, the open roll, essentially, the technique here is two strikes on the drum for every hand movement, okay, or wrist action, or whatever you want to call it. So what I'm doing is, when I play the open roll, what I'm doing is I'm striking the drum with a single stroke, what we call a single stroke, and then I'm letting the stick bounce one extra time. So it's what we refer to as a single stroke with a single rebound, okay, and I'll try and slow it down so you can see what's going on, okay. Can you see my hand? Now, I'm exaggerating it. I'm using my arm just for the purposes of this demonstration. When you play drum rolls, you don't use your arm. It's all from the wrist, and you shouldn't move your arms. Your arms move as little as possible. But for the purpose of this demonstration, slow down like an IKEA instruction book when you put your shelves together. You know, everything's kind of like expanded out. So I'm going to slow it right down and show you what's going on. So what I'm doing is I hit the drum, see my hand goes down, and then the stick will bounce. It will bounce back, but I keep my hand down, okay? So and I let the stick move through my grip. Okay, so my grip changes now. I'm using my fingers here. You see that? I'm not using my hand with the stick. I'm letting the stick move on my fingers, and I use this part. Yeah, so the stick comes down, it hits the drum, it comes up. My hand stays where it is. Gravity's going to pull it back down again, and I'm going to get that second strike, and then as that one bounces back, that's when I lift my hand to take my hand back to control that. And so I get only 2 notes, 1 strike and 1 rebound, okay? Now, what that means is, it means that this end of the stick is essentially going twice as fast as this end of the stick, which is my hand. And that's how I can get that speed, okay? So I'll go slow to fast again, just to demonstrate. So very slowly. And I'm very loose here, because I want those sticks to bounce. I'm trying not to get any accents. I'm trying to make everything even. Okay, all right, so that's the open roll, okay? Right, let's look at the closed roll now. So the closed roll is a very different technique. It's got a different sound. When I play a closed roll, what I'm doing is I'm buzzing the stick, okay? And I do the same on both hands. It's just a little buzz. And the way I do that is I just squeeze a little more here. I get a little more squeeze with the fingers, and I kind of press down into the drum. So it's just a little more tension here than there is in the other technique. And I press in on the drum. And of course, you know, like, so you can see where these nicknames come from, the press roll or the buzz roll, okay? Now, I've got no idea how many times the stick hits the drum. It doesn't matter. It's a random number of bounces. But what it's doing is giving the effect of a buzz sound. But what I am trying to do with the buzz, and this is very important, is I want the buzz to be very even. I don't want any accents. And a common mistake a lot of people make is they whack the drum and they get an accent at the beginning of the buzz. Okay, it's too much height on the stick there. And what that's going to mean is when you start putting them together, you're going to end up with a very lumpy drum roll. So what you'll notice is when I play the buzz note, I keep the sticks very low, very near the drum. Okay? So I start near the drum. I don't lift the stick off. I keep the stick down close near the drum. And if I need a little more volume, this is one of the few times when you play the drums that you will actually use a little more strength and force. Because most of the time when we want volume and dynamics, when we get loud on the drums, we use the height of the stick. Okay, you should use the height of the stick to get your volume, not strength and force. Up to a point, of course. So here, what I'm doing is I'm trying to avoid any height on the sticks. So in order to get that dynamic, I'm using a little more strength, okay? I also add a little speed as I get a little louder. You see that? So the sticks are not really moving, but I'm getting the dynamics from the pressure I put on the stick. Now, the important thing here about closed rolls as well, again, another common mistake people make, is they think you've got to move your hands fast. Well, you really haven't. Okay, so, and I'm going to show you now what's going on. So essentially, what you need to do is make that buzz as long as possible. Because what happens is you're doing a buzz on your right hand, a buzz on your left hand. And as you move your hands faster, what will happen, you'll get to the point where these buzz notes overlap. And at that point is when you're getting continuous sound. And that's the goal for the closed roll. You want that continuous sound. So there's a couple of things that quite often go wrong here. People tend to, as they get faster, they tense up, and then what happens is you tense up, your buzz gets shorter. It sort of chokes it off, and you end up with this. Yeah. And you start trying to put your hands faster, and it ends in a right mess. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to So as I go faster, what I mustn't do is change the pressure or the grip. I got to maintain that same, so I get that length of the drum roll, of the buzz. I'm just simply accelerating the distance between my hand movements. Yeah, I'm getting faster with my hands without changing my grip. Okay, and that takes a bit of work. Okay, a bit of practice. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just trying to get very even sound on both sticks, and as I get faster, I reach a point where they're now overlapping. I get continuous sound. Now I'm going to prove something to you, right? I'm not actually going very fast there. And I'm going to show you, because I'm going to turn the buzz off. I'm just going to turn these into single stroke. Okay, that's how fast I'm moving my hands. Now you can all do that already. All I'm doing is turning those singles into buzz notes. Because I've got nice long buzz notes, they overlap. Now, of course, I can go faster if I want, and that's how I get a little bit more volume. Okay, does that make sense? It looks easy, right? But so at least you understand the principles now of what's going on. You can identify those different drum rolls, the different sounds of the drum roll, and the different techniques that we use. Now, there are some pros and cons of both, because that's why certain drum rolls work in certain situations and settings. As I said before, if you're going to play military marching band kind of music, you're going to play all open rolls, because that's what fits that music. If you're playing anything like that kind of orchestral, very smooth sound, or I always think of that closed roll. It's a kind of like an effect. You know, I might use that as an effect, a very specific effect, where I want that very smooth sound. Now, anything else you come to? So, what about if you're playing your own music, you're playing in a band? Well, that's up to you, right? You can make those artistic choices and be aware of those different sounds. But there are some pros and cons about this. So, one of the great things about the open rolls is that when you learn to get that bounce and that rebound, you can use it on any surface. So, open rolls are great for using all around the kit. Okay, which you won't find a buzz roll or a closed roll works so well. I mean, I know, all right, there's always examples. You can find someone that's doing it, but I'm talking on general terms. General, when you're learning, you kind of want to learn the standard model and then keep all the exceptions for once you've mastered it. So, it depends how you tune your kit as well. So, I mean, I'm using a jazz kit here. We tend to tune the tom-toms a little higher, and so there's a little bit more resistance. So I can get a little bit more of a closed roll here. But generally speaking, the closed roll is only going to work on your snare drum, because you need that tension, you need that tighter drum tuning to get the closed roll, to get that very smooth buzz. Okay, but when you play an open roll, that works great all around the kit. Okay, so I can play open roll, cymbals, hi-hats, yeah, on the rims. So this is a great thing to incorporate, and of course that's why, you know, when you get into players like Steve Gadd and that sort of funk thing they were doing in the 70s and things like that, this stuff all works great. See what I mean? Like, so it's very, and again, if you're playing very fast fills around the kit, I mean, I'm only playing that, but I'm bouncing. So I can get a lot more speed around the kit by using those rebounds. Okay, I can essentially go twice as fast. So I hope that's helpful. Those are the two types of drum roll: open roll, closed roll. I've shown you the techniques of how to play them, why they sound different, and using those different techniques, and a little thinking about, you know, where we can use them as well. I hope you find that useful. If you want to get some more of this sort of thing, then do subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my website. So the link's down here. There's lots of resources on there for musicians, not just drummers, other instruments as well. I teach all instruments, but drums are my specialty. So, I hope to see you on there. Drop a comment below if there's anything you think that I missed. I'm sure I did. Or if you found it, if you did find it useful, then maybe give it a thumbs up, because that will really help me out. Thanks very much. Take care. Goodbye.